It wasn't that bad.
I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
I want to know.
I don't want to know about y'all's BC before Christ.
Greetings, SJD family and friends. Good morning and thank you. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Jay Brown. I am the athletic director and head girls basketball coach at Booker T. Washington High School, right here in Pensacola, Florida. Last but certainly not least, you know your girl, JB, is a proud member of SJD. Before we begin worship this morning, I just want to take a few seconds and I want you to listen to me. I don't need you to hear me. I want you to listen to me because it's too often that we know that we sometimes think about we have to do things. It's not about that. We're going to change our mindset today because we complain sometimes and we say things such as, I have to go to church. I have to attend Bible study. I have to pay my tithes. I have to remain faithful in God. No, no, no. Pause. 1 second. It's not about what you have to do. It's what you get to do, ladies and gentlemen. We get to go to church and worship God. We get to honor God by paying our tithes. We get to grow with God by attending Bible study. We get to do things because God is blessing us in so many ways. So this Sunday morning, I want you to change your mindset. I want you to change your focus. And don't think about what you have to do. I want you to think about what you get to do. Be encouraged and stay blessed.
Hello, everyone. Greetings to each and every one of you. My name is Dr. Joseph L. Marshall, Senior Pastor of SJD. I'm, of course, officially known as St. John Divine Missionary Baptist Church. As always, I greet you in that matchless and marvelous name of our Lord and Savior Jesus, who is yet and still the Christ. I am so grateful, so excited to come to you today, this evening, because in lieu of it being Black History Month, I thought that it would be fitting to bring to you, not in a derogatory manner, not in a manner in which to degrade or to deteriorize any university or what have you, but for us to have a discussion as it relates to PWIs, predominantly white institutions, as opposed to or versus HBCUs, historically Black colleges and universities. Now, I am so grateful that I have several panelists who have consented to join with me by way of this discussion. Those to my left, they have attended PWIs, and those to my right, they have attended primarily HBCUs. But before we go any further, I want each of them to have a brief moment to tell you their names, to tell you what do they do presently, occupationally, and of course, we'll go from there. So with that being said, I'm going to start to my left. Again, they're going to give you their names and where they went to college at and what they presently do by way of their vocation. Starting right to my left again with Coach Jade Brown.
I'm the athletic director at Booker T. Washington High School and the head girls basketball coach, and I'm a graduate of LIU, Long Island University in Brooklyn, New York.
LIU, Long Island University in Brooklyn, New York. Amen. Tasha.
I'm LaTasha Jordan. I am one of the assistant principals at Pine Forest High School, and I graduated from the best school in Florida, Florida State University. Go Noles.
Hello, everyone. I'm Sheikha Drayton. I am also an alumna of Florida State University, and I am an attorney.
Thank you so much, Sheikha. All right, to my right.
Hello, everyone. My name is Candace Tart, and I graduated from the Florida A&M University, and I am an assistant principal at West Pensacola Elementary School.
Thank you so much, Candace.
Hi everyone, I'm Meridia Washington. I graduated from Grambling State University, where we're known for our world-famed band, GSU, and I'm an activities director at Life Care Center of Pensacola.
Thank you so much, Meridia.
My name is Dominique Jordan, and I graduated from the Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University, better known as FAMU. My highest in Seven Hills, in Tallahassee, Florida, where I have a degree in history with a minor in secondary ed. Graduated fall of 09. Currently work at Booker T. Washington High School as a teacher, social studies, and assistant coach with Coach Brown over here for the Lady Cat.
Thank you so much, Brother Dominique. My name is Joseph Marshall, and I pastor St. John Divine Missionary Baptist Church, and I recently graduated from Anderson University with my PhD. And I'm, I guess, representing a PWI because I never got an opportunity to go to an HBCU. Rather, I actually did. I had a scholarships to FAMU to play baseball, and I had a scholarship to Southern to play baseball, and I had a scholarship to Auburn for ROTC. However, I took my official visit to FAMU, and upon taking my official visit, I had concluded this would not be the best thing for me at this time, and therefore I joined the military and not waste my grandma's money going down to the heights of Seven Hills, because there was a lot of activities and opportunities there that I just was not mature enough to handle at that time. So, with all that being said, I'm somewhat perplexed, you all, because though I've graduated primarily from PWIs, my daughter presently is attending an HBCU, of course, Tougaloo College. They're in Jackson, Mississippi, and so I didn't know whether to wear this or something representing Tougaloo. But let's just get right into it, because I want to start out by stating this, and that is, I initially thought, and again, don't throw any stones at me, but I initially thought that HBCUs, they were obsolete. What do I mean by being obsolete? That there was no longer a need for them. That we live in a time now in which we have access to a Long Island University and Florida State University, and there are blacks that go to these various institutions. So why can't we all just get along and be, one big conglomerate, if you will? But I just want to start there. I want to start there and just ask the question, and any of you can just chime in, and that is that did you initially choose to go to an HBCU or a PWI, or did it not even matter? You just wanted to go to school. Can someone just jump in and tell me how was that as far as your decision-making process? Shika?
Okay, I'll take a stab at it. So me and my twin were the first in our family.
Oh, wow.
So it was wide open. There was nothing forcing us to go
So it was a money issue.
It was a financial decision, where the scholarships would be, where I could get my degree out of debt. That happened to be at Florida State.
Thank you, Shika. That's interesting.
That's funny because I have a similar story. I mean, most people don't know I was admitted to Florida A&M first, and that's where I was slated to go. Like, I had a dorm room, I had everything.
Oh, wow.
I was going to FAMU, no questions asked. And then last minute, I got the acceptance from Florida State, and they offered me a lot more scholarship money. And so, being the first from my family, it was
First in your family
this
as
is
well. Okay.
this is a financially, this is the better choice for me.
Oh, wow. Okay. You all, both of you already have just thrown me for a loop, considering they were offering money even at the PWIs, and that's why you guys went. Since we're on this side, Coach Jay, you want to chime
Mine
in?
is the same. I mean, I
Oh,
went on a
really?
basketball scholarship. So
Oh,
it
my.
was completely free. I mean, you're not just going to New York, you know.
So you didn't just, I think I go to Long Island University in New York.
No. It was, I mean, the coaches recruited me. I went on a visit. I chose between there and another school, well, a couple schools, but it was completely free. My parents didn't have to pay for anything, so I was on a basketball scholarship.
Yeah, sound like a good school.
I had a great time.
Yeah, it's free.
Yeah, everything was free. Like, I didn't pay for it. They even bought me a coat. I have a North Face coat.
Oh, wow.
That's
Okay.
like when we get there, one of
really?
the first things they gave us was what they call like a winter stipend to
winter
go out
stipend.
to the athletes to go out and buy some like winter stuff because it's freezing cold in Brooklyn. So I went and bought a really nice North Face coat.
Oh, wow.
So
That is so
it was
cool.
free.
Now, anyone in your family, had they gone to college before?
Yeah, plenty of people. My mom went to PJC.
Okay.
But then she finished at Providence, which is now South Alabama School of Nursing.
Okay.
And my sister is a HBCU alum. She went to Xavier University. She went to Howard. She taught at TSU. Now
Okay.
she's at Syracuse. So I've had quite a few family members that went to college.
All right, thank you. Very interesting again. Any of you on the HBCU side want to chime in?
Yes, I'll chime in. My mom was a major influence in with me going to Florida A&M. She wanted to go to FAMU, okay, and she always tell the
So
story.
Sister Plummy wanted
Yes,
to go
she
to-
wanted to go.
Okay.
Even she graduated
Living
from
vicariously through
yes, from PJC in nursing, but she wanted to go to FAMU. That's where her friends went, and so. This is a little unknown fact about me, but I was in the band in high school. I played flute, and
I
so
saw photos.
yes,
Yeah.
and so I
A lot
just
of them on the internet.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah. So I played the flute in the band. My senior year, I played piccolo in the band, and I went to Pine Forest. And at that time, Pine Forest marched what was called core style. So we marched heel to toe, heel to toe, just a very smooth marching style, band style. And so my mom was like, well, you gonna go to FAMU band camp. And I was like, okay. So I went to band camp, and I'm like, okay, we're going from core style marching to high step and dancing and playing the instrument at the same time. So my first year at band camp, I stayed at Florida A&M. I stayed in the dorms, and I had a great time. And so from that band camp, I knew that I was going to be in that band. And that's what I did.
So I hate to sound so blunt.
Yes.
But since you brought it up, as far as the heel-toe thing at Pine Forest, and as you stated, then you segued and found yourself at FAMU in the band playing the piccolo.
Yes. Piccolo.
With that thought in mind, and you had to do the high step, march, and all of that,
And dance.
and dance.
At the same time.
Now, there is a buzz out there that's ignorant, that with HBCUs, they are not, rather, how could I say it, it's easier to be in the band in an HBCU because they're not up to par with the instrumentation as PWIs. But you're saying, and what I'm hearing, it actually is more difficult.
It is more difficult.
Because you got to march, you have to high step, the routines, the
Yes,
dancing.
absolutely.
And you still got to sound good.
And you still have to sound good, and you still have to know all of your music by memory.
Oh,
By memory, yeah. There is no music in the stands, But some of the PWI games, you'll see them with their music kind of like up on their instrument.
I have seen that.
Yeah, none of that.
Okay, y'all couldn't do that.
And there are many FAMU graduates who are members of the Marching 100 who won Grammys this past
Okay, give us
season
some
at the
history.
Grammy Awards. Yes. So
all
I don't know where you heard that about the musicality.
Absolutely.
Yes, but
Yeah.
that's definitely not true, Pastor.
I was told literally, and I'm just being very frank, that was one of the reasons why I did not want to go to an HBCU, was because it was a lower grade, if you will. And I'm just being blunt.
Right.
And as I just started to read and what have you, found that's not the case. And I'm hearing from you actually doing it, that is not the
Right.
case. Meridia.
So I actually was supposed to go to USA.
South Alabama, okay.
Yeah, I had my dorm and everything already picked out, and I had got offered a scholarship like the last week of school from
With
Grambling
Grambling.
State.
Okay.
And I had a lot of family that went to Grambling State. My uncle coached at Grambling State. My
wow.
uncle, my mom's brother, he actually played in the band at Grambling State, and he was on drumline. So I had, like, all my family has went to Grambling. And Grambling is maybe 45 minutes outside of Monroe, Louisiana, where all my family is originally from.
Oh, wow.
So you would thought that I would have just picked Grambling to go to, but
Yes, ma'am.
after I kind of had some incidents, my senior year with track, I didn't get offered any scholarships, so I was going to be a regular student, and Grambling came through for me and offered me a partial. And honestly, it's been the best experience of my life, like teammates, with my coach. They give you opportunities that you think you wouldn't have, and I did give up hope of my track dream, and they came through the last week of school and offered me something.
By way of track as well.
Track and field, yep.
Oh, wow.
And it was life-changing for me, and I wouldn't take it back for anything.
Oh, wow. Okay. Strong declaration. Brother Dominique.
Well, I've been born around.
Okay.
I have a lot of lineage as far as my family going to HBCU. Mother, she went to university. She originally was one of the. And my father, he was studying university, dropped out, like literally. I made more money.
Wow. Okay.
That way. But like my grandmother, she taught at FAMU. Aunt, she went to FAMU. My other aunt, she went to Bethune, Howard. My uncle graduated from FAMU pharmacy. As a kid, I've been going to things, so in my heart, I always knew that I'm going.
Oh, wow.
But as I got older, my goal and what I wanted to do as far as my career-wise, FAMU didn't offer that. So I ended up having to change my mind. Well, that ain't gonna. I got to go potentially to a PWI because I originally wanted to do biology. No HBCU offer biology, so it was either go to South Alabama, which I ain't want to go, or Florida State. And if I go to Florida State, I'm still in Tallahassee.
Yeah.
But I ended up changing my major. Ended up going to PSC first. My mom called me and offered scholarship. I transferred.
Roger.
MU and HBCU college, like that's also it's you like that's it.
Right. Well, it's ironic, just taking from what I'm hearing, I hear a lot of legacy on this side, and with all due respect, y'all went for the money. They offered y'all a lot of money. It was a financial decision, and that's where you ended up, which is a great reason to do so. I'm hearing, again, from the HBCU side, there's, again, a lot of legacy, a lot of impartation, and that sort of thing. With that thought in mind, I'm just kind of curious, off the PWI side, if you had the chance to do it over again, would you still have gone, if you had the money, would you have gone to Florida State, or would you have gone to an HBCU, or it just didn't matter?
I definitely would have went ahead and went to Florida A&M.
Okay. All right, Sheikah.
So I think for law school, I went to Penn State, a PWI. If I could take it back, I would have definitely gone to an HBCU for law school. If I could take it back, I would be a Howard alum for law.
Okay. If I can ask, and I didn't ask you this, Latasha, why would you have wanted to go to an HBCU if you had the money?
Well, when you hear them talk about their school and just the legacies and the camaraderie, and they always want to go back to their school.
Yeah.
You don't really hear. I mean, I don't know about you, but I don't go to Florida State homecoming.
Now that's good.
I
That's
just
good.
don't. But HBCUs, they go back to their homecoming. They
Yeah.
bring their families. Like it's a big reunion. There's that love for the school and the community, and you just don't have that at a huge school.
I got you. Coach Jade.
Mine's a little different because I played basketball.
Yeah,
So I'll first say this: if I didn't have to be a student athlete, I would have went to FAMU.
Everybody want to go to FAM.
Well, I mean, because growing up, like Candace noticed at church, like everybody, we grew up in the same church, like everybody went to FAM. So yeah, for sure. And I know I've told this to Dominique before. If an HBCU would have offered me over PWI, I would have took a basketball scholarship to an HBCU. And that's a whole other topic, by the way.
Yeah.
HBU sports and PWI. That's
Definitely.
another panel.
Okay.
Definitely.
It's another panel.
Oh yeah,
discussion?
Definitely.
yeah. That's a
Everyone is nodding north and
Yeah,
south.
that's
most definitely.
That's
Okay, I
that's
didn't-
another
I didn't know
discussion
that
for
that
another
was-
day. But
Oh, wow. Maybe we off record. You guys are going to have to prompt me to do another discussion because I didn't know that was a discussion as far as athletes and athletics.
I mean, Dominique had a conversation all the time because I went to a PWI and we have student athletes who go to PWIs. We got student athletes who are at HBCUs, and we look at like certain things and we're like, well, what if he would have went here?
Okay.
What would his professional level be? So it's a lot of things, but I think for sure, I mean, I'll be honest, same thing Tasha just said, like, when I see all my Rattler friends, like, going to homecoming, don't y'all laugh at me, but y'all understand, I went to school in New York, and I went to junior college, too, in Niceville, Northwest Florida. I ain't never been to a FAMU homecoming. Dominique, he keep telling me they gonna take me to one, but...
We going this year.
Yeah, so I just lived through Dominique and Reggie and
There
watching
you go.
Ramel and everybody, so if I could do it, and my sister, like I said, she's an HBCU person, I would go to one.
What's funny is that I asked the question because I didn't want to get jumped or I didn't want anyone to approach me in the wrong way. I asked, can I wear a FAMU sweater or can I wear a Grambling State sweater if I didn't graduate from that school?
Technically,
I can't wear
celebrities have been doing it. Martin, he represented like different HBCUs to kind of put them out there.
Okay.
For kids that might have not known about HBCUs.
So it's not illegal
It's
to
not
wear.
illegal.
It's not illegal, no.
But if you,
I mean,
if you
I don't understand. I don't know. So
But, I mean,
it's like
it's
I want
celebrity,
to. I want to, but I'm scared because, again, I don't know if y'all will get me
So,
and be like, Pastor, you can't wear that.
so like,
And I'm just going to be obedient and say,
so
okay.
you're in a fraternity, right?
Absolutely.
And I'm in a fraternity.
Yes,
too.
sir. Yes,
We'll
sir.
never wear each other's fraternity
Hoorah.
letters, colors.
Yes, sir.
But when it comes to school and what they stand for, HBC, right?
Yes, sir.
We all have HBC. So we might argue and fight and bicker, but we all support and want each other. And because
Good point. Good point.
you also see people wearing, like, I rep Miami. They always talk about it's the U, but I'm always going to say this is the real U. It's FAMU.
Roger.
But I'm always going to represent that school because I appreciate that school and I like them for sports. But no matter what, it's always family. So if you want to rock a FAMU shirt, I can get you a FAMU shirt.
I'm
But
serious. I want to.
And you can just say you're supporting your parishioners.
Yeah.
Because
And there's nothing
y'all
wrong
know I'm down with my parishioners now.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with it.
And can I add?
I like that. I have permission that I can wear an HBCU because it provides info, it helps market, it helps people to know that these institutions do exist. Okay. And I'm so serious about this because there might be someone else out there and you graduated from a school, but you don't want to be illegal like me. So they said we can wear something with
Don't nobody say nothing. You wear your Florida Gator stuff.
since I
you can
know
get rid of that.
I know we're kind of loose And I just heard someone in my left ear declare that I can get rid of my Florida Gators stuff.
Yes,
But,
please.
and I'm sorry, Sheikah, I want to, before I get your statement or your question or whatever you had, I want to say this. I'm hearing on this side, and I saw the North and South when you stated that HBCUs support one another. You're down with FAMU, you're down with FAMU, you're down with Grambling State, and that's just the way it is. However, when it comes to, say, a Howard, you will rock with Howard being an HBCU because y'all do that for one another. Is that like ingrained in the majority of HBCUs?
I would say so. We just want it to be where kids know about HBCUs because, I teach Sunday school and some of them don't even know what that stands for.
Exactly.
And it's
That's
just-
why we're having this discussion.
And it's just like shocking, because
Yeah.
it's almost like we aren't on the map and people don't take us seriously, but we do still get good educations. People still get good jobs at HBCUs. It's just not known out there because a lot of the predominantly white institutions push for kids to go to their schools, but originally, like Eddie G. Robinson, he was the one recruiting all these top athletes to go to these schools, to go to these, but now they're taking a lot of our athletes, offering them more stuff
Right.
and more the big, nice weight rooms and things like that. And HBCUs, we just don't have the funding for that sometimes.
Right.
And I hate to say it, even when you go to HBCUs, you'll see that they're on the outskirts. A lot of the time,
absolutely.
like, Grambling is like, that's it. That's the town. They're like, what else? Grambling is about 5 minutes away, but that's the university. Even like PV, it's out in the outskirts. Alabama State, or they're in rural areas or
Broke down.
broke
the
down
hood.
areas. Yeah, Jackson State. And it's just like they kind of put us in places where when people do go to visit, they're like, I don't want to go there, but at the same time, like, we support one another and we want people to know, like, it don't matter. My brother went to Jackson State. We just want somebody to go to an HBCU and
Right.
get the word out.
Now,
Your family.
will y'all rally together? And I know, Tosh, you already stated you have not been to a Florida State homecoming. But like they stated, fam, you going to support Grambling State. Will Florida State support Florida Gators?
Absolutely not.
Will Long Island, I mean, has any of you all been to the campus of Hampton? That's what I thought. Now, with that being said, had you been to Long Island University before you got your scholarship?
Had I been there, like, to visit?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, they
Right.
flew me
But
out.
outside of that.
No, I had never been to New York before.
So here I am.
Yeah.
Here I am. Okay. So there's a difference in the support and overall camaraderie and coming together. I'm not trying to lift up one over the other, and y'all correct me if I'm off, but it sounds like there's a certain camaraderie with HBCUs that's not ingrained in PWIs. Is that correct?
Can I piggyback off of that, Pastor?
Please do.
And I think the reason for that is because HBCUs were founded upon the fact that African Americans were not going to college, and we had to rally together to be able to go to university. So we founded our own universities to go to.
That's a good point.
So, I mean, I think that is what brings us together because that's what brought us together,
Wow.
FAMU was founded in
that.
1887. So African Americans were not going to,
Wow.
PWIs in 1887. So we had to establish our own.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. And is that the case with most HBCUs? Some more than likely a black person founded it or what have you? With most of them.
There are not.
Gotcha.
But others have been found.
I'm sorry, Sheikah, I have not forgotten about you. I'm coming to you right after I make this statement. So the funny thing was, I had never heard of Tougaloo College. And Jordan came home and said, Dad, I feel the Lord is leading me here. She was going to FAM. That's where Jordan was going. And she just felt like the Lord was leading her to Tougaloo. I'm like, where's Tougaloo? Long story short, of course, Dad went into research mode and discovered that Tougaloo produces more PhDs, more doctors, more attorneys than any other school in the entire state of Mississippi. And that includes Southern Mississippi, Mississippi State, Ole Miss, or what have you. And then furthermore, to find out they had a partnership with Brown University, Princeton, and UCLA. This is Tougaloo. And as long as Jordan maintains a 3.0 GPA, she automatically gets admitted into medical school. And I was like, really? Tougaloo? I mean, but they're known for their academics. Well, that's contrary to what I was fed, that no, HBCUs, the academic level is not there, but that's not the case. Sheikah, I'm sorry.
So
If you can remember.
Yes, I remember it because I really want to add this. I'm an honorary Rattler, I would say, because even though I
ahead,
got my
honorary
degree from
Rattler.
Florida State. One of my most transformative experiences, I would say, during undergrad was afforded to me by FAMU. I did my first study abroad program through FAMU. It's called Camp Adventure, and they sent me to the United Kingdom. That was my first time going abroad, and it was because of FAMU. And the preparation for that program, it was nothing like I had ever experienced. I was an ambassador for FAMU that summer. They were like, when you go there, you do your job with excellence, you do it with pride. And so I just got
This
like
is
a
FAMU?
snippet. Yes, that was
Okay.
FAMU. I just got a little piece of what it was like to be a Rattler for that summer. And I would have never had that opportunity at Florida State because, one, it was too expensive.
Okay, now you just said something. The pride and never getting that experience and that sort of thing. I want to push that a little further because the push at PWIs with professors, did they go out of their way for you all? Did they push you? Or was there any kind of interpersonal connections, Tasha, at Florida State?
I had a unique experience because a lot of people don't know I wanted to be a journalist originally. I wanted to be a sports writer. Okay. And so at Florida State, they didn't have a journalism program. So in order for me to take actual journalism courses, I had to be dual enrolled at FAMU. So I had to take certain journalism classes to fulfill my minor at FAMU. So I had the experience of taking classes at FAMU and courses at Florida State. And it's a big difference. For instance, my biology class was in the Westcott building. It was 300 people in my biology class.
This is Florida State?
Yes,
300?
300
Oh, wow.
in my biology class.
See, I didn't know that. 300?
It's auditorium style. So when I'm talking to my students, I could talk to them about, both sides because it's about your personal preference and how your learning style. And so I tell them, if you go to these big institutions, then you have to be prepared that you're going to have huge class sizes.
Wow.
And if you're not someone who can learn in that kind of environment, because with 300 people, you weren't asking questions. You had to write down your questions on a piece of paper, pass it down. They had like row ushers. Pass it down to the row usher, and the row usher would give it to the professor, and they would have like a question and answer time. And if they got to your question, they got to your question. If they didn't, then you better go see them for your office hours. So
Oh, wow.
it was tough to learn something like biology in a room with 300 people versus when I went to my journalism class, it was probably about 12 of us in a classroom, and I had the privilege of learning from a guy they call Prof. He was an older gentleman, and he was tough. Like, he was the toughest professor I've ever experienced. Okay. And he pushed my writing skills to a level that I didn't even think I had, to a point where I was frustrated and I wanted to quit.
Okay.
But he definitely did not want us to give anything less than our best. And when I say it's just a different experience that you can't explain to anyone. You have to actually be in it to see both sides. And it's definitely a personal preference. Like I tell my students all the time, I talk to them about Florida State and I promote Florida State, and I talk to them about HBCUs. If you go in our guidance department, I have a big poster, and it has like all the HBCUs listed. Compliments of my husband, he bought it for me. So I display it in our guidance office so students can ask questions about those different universities, and we can talk to them about both sides.
Wow, that's quite interesting. 300. Oh, God. I'm just curious. I know, like, again, pardon me because, again, I'm living vicariously through Jordan. So she'll come home. Well, she called, Dad, it's 15 people supposed to be in class, and 3 of us showed up. That's beside the point. I want to know, is it that way at HBCUs, where it's 300? A lot of folk like that? Did y'all experience that?
When I was at FAM, there's certain courses that everyone has to take.
Yes, sir.
So like at FAM, everyone has to take African American history class, intro to African American history, and I had a psychology class that was a general psych that you just had to take. So those classes can have about maybe 80 to 100 some people in there because there's only a couple classrooms that are that large that hold that many people. Everything else is similar to what you see here in your high schools that can hold about 30 to 40 people, if that. But your class size is not going to always be that size. But like your freshman, sophomore classes, certain general ed courses that everybody has to take, yeah, you're going to have about 100 people in there, and that's normal. But even to her experience, to Tasha's experience, we were still able to ask questions. We didn't actually have to always go to office hours. And our professors sometimes even stay just a tad bit late if there wasn't another class like right after there in that same classroom. But not to that level. I've never experienced something like that.
Wow. I want to hear a little bit more. Coach Jay, what about you at Long Island University? That's way up north. I don't know, up north, is it different? Or is it kind of the same with PWIs? Or
I would say it's a little different because the schools in New York are in the city. So I was in downtown Brooklyn. So St. John's is in Queens. NYU is in Manhattan. So for those of us who have been in New York, I mean, it's not a huge campus. We had 16 floors for our dorms, but it's not a huge campus. So you're in the city, but it's still one of the most popular campuses in New York because it's so many commuters. So kind of like what they're saying, like we didn't have probably about 30, 40 people in certain courses, like a philosophy and psychology. But when in my major, because I have a major in history, those courses were much smaller, maybe like 10, 15 of us. So it got really personable with the professors, had some really cool, neat people. But in the city, it's in the city, so it's not this big, huge campus, but a lot of commuters, a lot of classes. So it was, to me, I think I had a really neat experience in Brooklyn because New York is a melting pot. I remember it was African American literature, and we had a black teacher. Well, I consider her black, but she went around the room and asked everybody, like, what's your nationality? And myself and my roommate, we were both like black. And I mean, because I feel like I'm black. But in New York City, they are very culture driven. So somebody sitting next to me like you, I think you black, Pastor Marshall, but in New York, they're probably finna say Haitian, West Indian. Like, I'm talking about every black person in class.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, nobody. And me and my roommate, she's from New Jersey. Both of us, I'm like, I'm from Florida. She's like, we both are like, oh, we black. And so our professor is like, she was West Indian, but they're they're strong on who their parents are. So we were the only black people that looked like all of us that said we were black.
See my face? I'm just like stone.
I was like,
face,
everybody
right?
else in the room was like West Indian, Haitian, and Dominican, and I'm like, you look as black as me. It was a foreign experience because I've never.
Yeah.
I mean, being from the South, I felt like if somebody asked us right now, all of us gonna say African American.
Very much so.
But in that classroom, she went around the room, and myself and my teammate, we were the only black people to say black. Oh, wow. Everybody else said some form of a nationality, what they were, and I was like, oh. Am I black? But it was foreign, but it still was pretty cool though.
So what I'm hearing, and again, you guys correct me if I'm wrong, if I wanted, well, let me first back up and say, when I looked at the map of HBCUs, seems like they are predominantly in the South. As you go up north, there are some, but they start to filter out. But out west, Midwest, Northwest, Seattle, all of that, there are no HBCUs. So, my question is, if someone wanted that melting pot experience, if you will, they would have to consider the fact that there are no HBCUs. If I want to go to UCLA, if I want to go to USC or University of Arizona, you could probably get that melting pot because here in the South, I agree with you. If I look at your skin, you look black to me. So all this other stuff, So that leads me to a question for the HBCUs. At an HBCU, can they have that melting pot experience like Jade had at Long Island University? Can they get that experience at an HBCU?
You can definitely get that experience at FAMU, but it's going to be from a more like down south, Miami, Bahamian, Haitians, things like that, or people of that nationality. So you will definitely get that melting pot experience.
So I'm hearing that concentration still of the South.
Of the South, definitely of the South. But Caribbean, more Caribbean.
South, or
yeah.
what have you. Yeah. So. That's why I can go to FAMU.
I could piggyback off that.
That's why I joined the military.
Add that if you do go to, especially like our pharmacy program, there's a lot of people from other nations, Indian, Asian, even white, who attend our pharmacy program or even like our engineering program.
Yes.
But those programs, you will definitely see diversity on the campus.
Interesting.
But to add on, because you are going to have, I'm Haitian, I'm from Miami, I'm from Duval, and I'm Bahamian, or I'm Jamaican, or I'm Puerto Rican. So you're going to have it, but like certain programs are more diverse than others because a lot of people come to our schools for these specific programs. Good.
And, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Candace.
I was going to say, and actually, to piggyback off what Dominic said, Florida A&M and FSU actually share a College of Engineering. So,
really?
My sister graduated from the College of Engineering, and her diploma says Florida A&M / Florida State School of or College of Engineering.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, they share a College of Engineering.
So
that's why I rock with them, because we share schools. Yeah, I rock with them heavy. We're across the track from each other. So I don't know if you've heard that term, but Florida State and FAMU are across the track.
Quite literally.
Literally
I
across the track.
I haven't heard
Yes,
across the track.
Across the track. But
how about at Grambling State? Do you have a melting pot there?
Yes, I'm gonna be coming from like the athletics side of things. That with the baseball players, you're gonna get the people from the Dominican, Haitian, but as a track athlete, my coach was from Trinidad. So he recruited a lot of people from the Caribbeans and things like that. I had a coach. I'm a teammate from Kenya. It just with an athlete, and then we even had white athletes too. So you can still get that experience in the classroom, on the track, or whatever sport you play. Is going to be people from different areas.
Places and areas.
A lot of people, even, I was born in Cali, but I had to stop repping San Diego because when I went there and met people from Cali, they was like, "You don't sound like you from California."
You sound like you from.
And I'm like, I don't know where I'm from, but I just been here and I've been there, so my accent is kind of like got a twang to it. So,
Girl, be proud of your accent.
Yes, and they was like, well. I was like, yeah, I'm just from Pensacola, Florida. And that's what I'm going to rep. But you kind of get people from everywhere. And I was just surprised that it was so many people that came from California down to Grambling. I met so many people.
So people from California was even at Grambling.
Yeah.
And as you guys stated at FAM, people from everywhere?
Got people from Chicago, Atlanta, big, DC, Midwest, as far as Texas. We get some Cali people too, but there's certain cities, like if you go there, you're going to see a lot of family.
Wow.
And we have that connection. Let's go there to those places.
Wow. How about the embrace at a PWI? If you are a black person on the campus of Florida State, Long Island, you have the Southern twang, or what have you. How is the embrace? Because I'm going to flip it and come to the HBCU side, and I'm going to ask, as a white person, how are they embraced at an HBCU? So let's start on the PWI side first. As a black person, are you embraced well and that sort of thing?
Yes. I went my freshman year, I was in Smith Hall, which we called it the hood.
Okay, there's a hood at a PWI?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't think,
It was bad.
I thought they had neighborhoods.
No.
And the hoods was here, and in the neighborhoods.
Even people from FAMU were like, you stay in Smith Hall? Whoa.
Oh, so even FAMU knew. Okay.
Yeah, because they would come over and hang out in Smith Hall because predominantly most of the people who stayed in Smith Hall were black. So, and I don't think it was on purpose, but Smith, Sally, we were all kind of together in a little area, and it was the roughest dorms there on campus.
Most affordable, too.
And most affordable.
Okay, got a witness over there.
It was bad because when my mom dropped me off, like, she was sad, but she was also like, this is so small, this little box, I gotta get out of here. And I'm like, but you're leaving me here. She was like, it's so small in here. But it was a tight little space, but I will tell you that my best friends come from Smith Hall. And we all bonded together. We were like the Smith Hall clan.
So Smith Hall had black and white in there?
Yes.
Or did they put most of us?
Yes.
In Smith
We were in
Hall?
Smith or Sally. Like we were kind of in
Or
neighboring-
Kellum.
Yeah, we were like in the little area together.
Okay.
So, I mean, we would play spades and dominoes in the commons and all kinds of things. So we were kind of like a little family, a little group. And so even as we progressed through our years, we still had like our little Smith Hall family. I was also heavily involved in the Black Student Union, and as most of us were, because through the BSU, we banded together to kind of create spaces for ourselves, and we would always have someone within the BSU who would be in SGA. Like, we need somebody to run for SGA, we need somebody in this area, we need somebody in this
So you all
area, so we
collaborated
can have
together
our
and-
voice in homecoming. So we would have artists that we want to see at homecoming, or that we would have events that we wanted to go to. And then we also had our Union Wednesdays, which was when we would take the Union, which was the area where you had your cafeteria area, and we would have a DJ, and we would have booths set up that only displayed things
They
that
let
were.
you play rap music.
They
and
let us
R&B
play all
and
that.
I don't know. Y'all could do that?
Yes, I mean, people
Could
from
you
FAMU
dance?
came over to the Union on Wednesdays. They would
did.
come over and hang out.
We did.
And so it was just, that was like our experience. So we kind of created our world within that world and made ourselves see ourselves and feel comfortable
So
in
you didn't
that
have to
area.
dilute your blackness.
No,
No.
I was not going to.
I like that.
Yeah,
I like that.
agree.
Drink
There was
it.
communities
I'm sorry,
at Florida
she
State.
could. Yeah.
We built communities at
I like
Florida
that.
State where you
I
could
like that.
be, you can stand firm in your who you were and who you are as a person. But we also I was a first generation, so I came in through a program called CARE. And CARE was its own little community in and of itself too that, really welcomed you to Florida State's campus and Florida State's culture. So
Wow.
I would say I felt pretty welcome, but I will say that I do have friends who have had very negative experiences by way of racism at Florida State. So I know it's not across the board just a great place or a great experience. I never personally experienced it, but I saw secondhand the pain that some of my friends went through with negative experiences they had at Florida State.
Wow. Long Island.
And they would
I'm sorry.
always ask, too, they would always ask us, why are you not at FAMU?
Oh, hold on.
Yeah, that was always
Yes.
the question.
So
Yes.
where did that question originate from? Who would ask it? Just
Just the
randomly?
students, the students.
Oh, really? Okay. And what was your response? Because I didn't want to go. I'm here.
I mean, you're a military person, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, you always got to send somebody behind enemy lines, right?
That's right. I understand. All right. I got you.
So I would just tell them all the time, I mean, I'm behind enemy lines. I'm getting what you get, and I'm taking it back to my people.
I almost jumped on this girl, Jade, at Long Island, up north. I got a feeling probably yes.
Yeah, I
Milton
mean,
Pot.
for one, I was an athlete, so I always kind of feel like I can't really speak like some other students can. And I will say this: if I didn't play basketball, sometimes I'm like, man, I wish I wasn't a student athlete. Like, we played every Saturday and Monday. So y'all know what I'm saying. Every Saturday and Monday. So
Yes.
it wasn't no hanging out on
Yes.
Friday.
Yes.
And so I'm just saying. But I mean, it was again it was good. I enjoyed it. I learned a lot of new things, met a lot of new people. I mean, I do think because I was an athlete, I'm not gonna say I got treated better, but I think we were
Y'all are treated better.
we were well taken care of. I would say that. Like
Okay.
I didn't have to go wait in line at the bookstore. Like, I
understand.
just skipped everybody and I mean that was one of the I mean we had our
That's
own
what I did.
we had our own area in our athletic department where the books were. So if it wasn't a book there, then we would just tell them, hey, I'm on the girls basketball team, I need this book. And I mean we literally would go to the front of the line. So I think I have maybe some very different experience from others being an athlete.
Right.
And I think sometimes I may took advantage of it. Maybe I
No,
enjoyed it
you
though.
got to do what you got to do. What I love about this is I'm hearing there's a distinction from being an athlete and being a regular student. I've heard that from on this side and this side as well. And also what I'm hearing, there is a bond that is established, even at a PWI. However, there can be pockets here and there. But outside of that, you can jail with your own people, and you don't have to sacrifice your culture and who you are and where you're from and all of that sort of thing. Okay, I'm getting north and south. That's good. Okay, a white person at an HBCU. I want to hear from, as an athlete, Meridia, and then I want to hear from Candace and Dominique, as a student. How do you think whites, if you will, are they embraced? Are they shunned? How is that?
When you first go to HBCU, when you do see a white person on campus, you kind of like, why are you here? You play a sport? you must play baseball, or you must got this, or you must got a scholarship. It's like,
something.
It's something, And half the time it is. They don't got a scholarship in something. It might be a scholarship in something you only never heard of before, or they might be an athlete.
Because they're a minority at an HBCU, correct?
Yeah. And
Okay.
so, but everybody's embraced, like at Grambling, they say Gram Fam. So you see them dancing on the yard harder than some of the black people sometimes. And, I'll never forget this one girl, she played on the softball team. and she was, just part of the family, and
Okay.
it's not where we like separated them out. I mean, because
like
it was
that.
just one of the two, and honestly, you knew their names. Like, you're like, oh, that's Vicky. Oh, because it was just very few of them. So, and they almost kind of become a little popular because they are, it's just like, oh, you one of us. Like, you picked us to come here, so,
Right.
you representing us.
Kind of
thing.
embrace them.
Yeah,
Just
you
like
embrace
light
them.
skin. They're
Yeah,
light skin.
yeah.
Y'all
our
just real
light-skinned
light-skinned,
friends.
yeah.
So it was never where it was just like, like, why you coming here type thing, and as you see, they're joining sometimes sororities and fraternities,
Absolutely.
and they're becoming more embraced now, and they're wanting to be in, the
Oh,
Divine
wow.
Nine. They'll pick us before they pick their own
Wow.
nowadays.
So they just love it. They just get
Yeah,
in there.
and it's,
That's-
at Grambling, they have embraced, the people I know, we've all embraced each other, and it's just family.
Wow. Wow. I could really say a lot, but I'm not. Dominique or Candace, tell me from a regular student side, seeing a white female or a white dude walking around campus, they're a minority, more than likely they're there on some kind of scholarship or what have you. Are they embraced at FAM?
Yes, I feel like they are. I agree with Meridia. All students are embraced at an HBCU. I was in the Marching 100 with a couple of white students, and they
Okay,
were just
so
like
You had
family.
some white students that had to do the little
Absolutely.
high thing.
Absolutely.
Like fam, you be doing.
And they can
They
dance.
had to dance too.
Yeah, so they were embraced just
Oh,
as
wow.
well as everyone else.
So did y'all
So
take them
they're
to
all
the side,
family.
teach them the electric slide, and
No, they just had to get it. They probably
They
knew
just
it
had to
before they
get
came.
they already knew
They
before I
probably
get here.
already
I need
knew.
to learn this.
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, they're embraced.
Dominique.
Definitely they are embraced. My experience with meeting some of my white alumni graduated from FAM, like you do embrace them as like your light skinned brothers.
Wow.
And a lot of times they've come from a background where they grew up around black people. So it's not like they're fully uncomfortable coming here. It's,
I got you.
I've embraced it. I have some who have to learn more about the culture and they ask questions. That's what
good
you're
thing.
learning about each other. It's good to have those discussions because a lot of times people don't have those discussions, and therefore you don't learn about one another and this thing about stereotypes and what you see in me.
Wow.
But to actually have them there in class and you're working on projects, like just embrace one another. They don't look at it really as black and white. Just look at, well, you're part of the family you lead now. So
Wow.
welcome to the family.
What's interesting is even from Christendom, that side, I can honestly say I've preached in, of course, black churches, then I've preached in white churches. Quite a difference. And for time's sake, because I have one last question and we'll end, but all I want to say is that a white person can come to a black church and they'll be embraced. We may pick at them initially if they're not clapping on beat or something like that. But once we get over that, you still are light-skinned brothers and sisters. But if I go to a white church, I can honestly say that I get looked at. And so much so, every white church that I've preached at, immediately, they want to know where I went to school, what did I major in, that sort of thing. They really want to vet me before they hear me, So at any rate, there it is. Post-graduation endearment. This will be the last question. Post-graduation endearment or affection. And what I mean by that, as a graduate of Long Island University, as a graduate of Florida State, as graduates of FAMU and Grambling State, to wear that paraphernalia, how does it make you feel? Does it give you a warm and fuzzy when you don that garnet and gold, I guess it is, whatever that color is for Florida State? I don't know what that is. Do you get a warm and fuzzy? And I'm going to come and ask. Matter of fact, I started here before. I start on this side. Do you all get a warm and fuzzy when you put on that gear and you run into other alumni? What is it like walking through the airport or, being at a restaurant and you have on your HBCU gear? What kind of experience is that? And then I also want you to include in it the workforce. Is your degree treated any lesser because you graduated from an HBCU?
I'll go ahead and answer that. And it's funny that you said when you're in the airport, because this may seem corny, but when I'm in the air, I don't like to fly, but when I do have to fly and I'm in the airport, I will purposely wear some Rattler gear because I want somebody to say, "Hey, Rattler." Or I want to say, "What's up, Rattler?" So I purposely, because we recognize each other like that. Yeah, so I want to wear my gear so I can be, see another Rattler. It's just, it does give you a warm fuzzy when you see, another Rattler. So
I'm going to go on Amazon tonight, and I'm ordering me some HBCU gear. I'm talking
Better
about
get some Grambling gear.
Wait, should I get some Grambling gear? Okay.
So you could just go to Dick's.
Go where?
Go to Dick's.
Dick's.
They got a whole section for you.
Really, I'm not wearing a Christian Life School of Theology. I'm not wearing Troy University. I'm not wearing Faith Evangelical Seminary. I'm not wearing Liberty University. I'm not wearing Luther Rice University. I'm not wearing Anderson University. I'm going to get me some HBCU stuff. So, again, tell me, Dominique, how would you answer that?
So when we have football games, like big classes,
Yeah.
and you got a lot of Rattlers coming.
Okay.
For instance, we just won a national championship in Atlanta. I didn't get to go, but I got to hear all my friends' experience and just saying how it felt like homecoming again because you had so many Rattlers coming. So just like Candace, in my experience, I've worn family stuff. Like I was in Camp Adventure also, and I was on my way to Hawaii. Just some random couple that I ran into in LA at the airport was like, "Hey, you go to fam?" I was like, "Yes, I'm in fam you right now." And them telling me when they graduated, it's like seeing family. And Rattlers always, I can say this from a family perspective, we always look out for each other no matter what. And me going across the world in Belgium and meeting someone that's familiar with family showed me love because they know about family and they had family that was at family.
Wow.
So for me to wear this, it does give you that pride. Like, look at me, I'm orange and green. Like, I know I'm clean. Check out my school. You have that pride. And even for me, even though I didn't go to Southern or Bethune, like this is HBCU at Booker T. Like I'm gonna wear something Bethune because of my mother.
Really? Okay.
And that's the rival.
Okay.
And I've only done it once in my life when I was a kid. But now as an alumnus, I'm still gonna rep, but I'm gonna still have that pride because I know I'm representing like my mom's and my aunt's legacy. So it gives you that sense of pride of family. As far as the workforce part, I think that depending on your job and the school you attended makes a difference. So like knowing that I went to FAM, if you are a pharmacist, you went to FAMU, oh, that's big time.
That's big time, okay.
Like you went to FAMU and you did this, like they gonna want you. You are wanted. Nursing, same way.
Okay.
Be in education, it's the same way because of the programs that what they've established. Some schools don't have that credibility, so they might look at you a little sideways. But I just feel that depending on what school you went to, the program you come from, they're like known nationally and sometimes around the world of how.
I like that. Very good response. I like that. On this side, I kind of got a feeling when y'all lay Florida State down, since there is one or two people that root for Florida State, Long Island University, workforce for your degree, that sort of thing. So tell me, how is that, if you will, when you lay it down, as well as the endearment, being a graduate of Long Island University? Do you get this warm and fuzzy? Let's hear from the PWI side.
Yeah, I mean, I feel good. I mean, I got a degree, so I'm happy. But I tell you what makes me feel pretty good, especially being in education and working at a secondary school, a high school, especially when young people, and I wear my hoodie or a T-shirt, like, you went to school, where's that? You went to school there? You went to school in New York City? So anytime I tell people I went to school in New York City, they just like, really? And so to be able to say that a kid from Pensacola, Florida went to school in Brooklyn, New York, it's pretty cool to be able to say it. I mean, I'm not going to, as kids say, I ain't going to cap. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to say it. And I was afforded a lot of opportunities. Like Candace said, I ran into a lot of celebrities. You know, living in downtown Brooklyn, the first weekend, Talib Kweli's performing a free concert. Harrison Ford is walking literally across the street to Junior's Cheesecake Factory.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, Drake, my homeboy, I'm just playing. I mean,
She ain't lying.
Drake, crazy.
Drake is her home.
Drake is a homeboy, huh?
I knew him before, you know,
Wow.
the braids.
Oh, really? Okay. She's like a Drake.
She's famous.
Drake,
I'm glad we
That's a
know.
whole story.
you know.
But to get
know
to your
some.
second part of your question, we're not worried about Drake right now. All right, what's up, Drizzy?
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. But when you say like workforce, I'll be honest with you. I think because I attended a PWI, I've never really thought about it. Like, what is, you know, if I apply somewhere else, are they gonna? It's never really dawned on me. I'm just being honest. I think
I like that honesty.
You know what I mean? Because I think
it's never crossed your mind.
yeah, it's never
one
been
way or
like,
another.
if I apply somewhere, are they going? I just never really thought about it until you asked that question. I
Right.
think just because maybe I went to PWI, I'm kind of like, well, maybe they won't, you know.
Absolutely.
I don't know. I've never really thought about it. I've also only had one job too, so I haven't applied anywhere else.
To be honest with you, you know, of course, I just got finished preaching from Exodus 1, and in verse 5, it states how that the king dealt wisely with those people of color. And therefore, the response from those people of color in Exodus chapter 1, they responded wisely. Ironically, there's a Bible called the Slave Bible that came out in 1807. There's only 3 copies left. 2 of them is in the UK. 1 of them is here. It was at the African American Museum, as well as, but it's housed at Fisk University. And in that Bible, most of the verses have been redacted. As a matter of fact, one of the main books of which they took out of the slave Bible was the book of Exodus to come out. Yeah, they didn't want them Negroes to think about coming out or gaining strength or coming together. So they took out all the stuff that could encourage them to do so. That's a whole nother subject matter. But the only reason I mention that is because I'm just listening, and it makes a lot of sense as far as even your experience and being up there and going through that and not, well, never thought about it, you know. But I purposely went to a PWI because I was thinking about it. When I lay my degree down, as we say with my lifetime membership with Kappa, I wanted to make some noise. And I wanted to get their degree. and you know, so that they never could say anything to me. But I wish I would have at least did half of that at an HBCU. And we'll hear from you both, and we'll be ready to end. Tasha, workforce and, you know, that warm and fuzzy.
I think for a lot of us, you know, African Americans, we didn't think being the president was possible until we saw Barack Obama.
Yes.
So I think this is important. I think that
I like
kids
that.
need to know that you can go to Florida State University.
I like that.
So I'm very proud when I put it on.
I like that.
Because it just demonstrates that sky's the limit. Even though, you know, there's a lot that you get culturally from HBCUs, they should know that there's no ceiling, no cap.
Like
you
that.
can go wherever you want to go.
Wherever you want to go.
Yeah, so that's why I feel proud. I'm like Jay, I don't think about it when I apply for things. I don't think about that part. I think more so about my work ethic and my resume and what I've done, more so than the school that I graduated from, because I got my master's from UWF. So, I have 2 PWIs. And so I don't really think about that part of it as much as I think about my character speaking for me. When I look at it from an employer side, if I see somebody that's applying with a FAMU degree, it does speak to me a little differently because I know the quality of people that school produces, and the teachers that we have who are from FAMU are excellent.
Wow.
And they perform with excellence because they still feel like, even though they're not at FAMU, they're always representing FAMU.
Wow.
And
Wow.
it's a difference, like,
Wow.
it's just a difference. It's a big difference.
Wow.
But yes, I do feel proud when I wear Florida State. I do rival with those Gators, and I do think that my experience was a great one because it created me to be who I am today. And I don't know who I would have been if I would have went to FAMU. It might have been a different experience, but I appreciate who I am because of FSU.
Wow. Great commentary. I'm sorry, I'm pausing as well. I'm just processing everything. Sheikah.
I would agree. I would say I have a great deal of pride to call myself a graduate of Florida State. I do think the rivalry with UF kind of contributes to that. One of my favorite memes, it says, I wear a Florida State shirt because I graduated from there. You wear a Florida shirt because you went to Walmart. It's so
I would have went to Florida if the Navy would have let me. So they had to approve it, and I tried to go to Florida.
No, it's
But
just
they-
that banter that
They would only let me go to Troy University in order for the Navy to pay for it. So like y'all, financial decision, I went to Troy University because at the Chevalier Building, out on NES or what have you. Wow. I know I said last question, but I'm a Baptist preacher. This is open, just 1 or 2 responses, and we're going to close. Social life. Because I know the young people are those out there that are trying to decide where they want to go, and maybe even there may be some like myself. You are a non-traditional student. You didn't go to college immediately after high school. Because like me, I didn't start college. A lot of people think I went traditionally. No, I didn't start college until I was 26. And I went all the way through when I was 39 and got my D-Min, and then later on I got my PhD. But social life, how is that? Because I know as being an older student, of course, I didn't care nothing about a social life. I had Jordan and Joseph, my oldest son, my only son, and Jocelyn. But how's the social life for someone making a decision to go to a PWI or an HBCU? Because I know that kind of matters.
Well, I would say go to Florida State or FAMU, and then you would have the best of both worlds.
That's why I went to the military.
So social life at FAM it's wonderful. I think sometimes too people don't go to FAM because of how much a distraction it can be. Like literally at one point in time, and it's probably that way now because every day of the week there's something for you to do. Like Monday through Sunday. You have a party or you have some social gathering, you got something that you can go do that can be a distraction.
Every day?
Yeah, every day.
You have to be disciplined.
Yeah.
And during football season, it's even worse. Because you have our school having games, you got Florida State having games, and don't let us both have a game on the same weekend. It's
major, huh?
Yes.
Wow.
So there's social life is good in regards to outside of campus. And on campus, like it is like you have set Fridays. That's also a distraction.
Set Fridays. What
During
is
the
that?
middle of the day, like they have market Wednesdays and Wednesdays. Like that can be a distraction because instead of you going to class, you walking by the set and it's jumping. So I want to go to the set and chill and hang out. But I'm supposed to be in class right now learning African American history. But I'm not. So on that aspect, there is a lot of fun things for you to do, and you can network and find your group of people that you grow with.
I like that. I like that. Meridia, you were going to say something?
Yeah, the social life, because I was always kind of shy.
I was getting ready to
But-
say, because you're like an
Yeah.
introvert.
Yeah, but when I went to Grambling, I
Hold on. My member said, but.
was like, yeah.
But is a conjunction,
so-
which means the story was going one way, but now it's getting ready to go another.
So I
Come
didn't
on,
have
Meridia.
I didn't have a car. My mom was like, "No, you don't need a car your freshman year." Mind you, we could have cars, but they was like, "No." No matter where I was going, I done found a ride from somebody, and they will pick you up. You gonna go here,
they'll
you gonna
pick
go
you up?
there, and it was just like, "You need a ride? You run track?" I'm like, "Yeah," and it was
Yeah.
just like, it was just like I had a good time. Almost when I got the car, it was kind of like, man, now I can't, you meet people.
I understand.
And then, see,
Wow.
with Florida State and FAMU, there was like 2 colleges like right there, and y'all was kind of in the city, but Grambling, there's nothing else there but Grambling. So it's like you kind of make the fun out of it. I end up being an ambassador, giving tours around the school, and calendar girl. It was just, I kind of came out my shell, and it made me to the person I am today, because
like
their
that.
little motto is Grambling State, where everybody is somebody. And you really can, whatever you want to do or you aspire to do, you can go and try to do it. And it just was a fun time. I was out there on the yard having a good little time. And like I said, it was like, especially like high school day, it was to the point where you just go from one thing to the next, and you'll be like, "Oh, so-and-so," and they'll call you and be like, "Something's going on," and you'll put your little clothes on and get out there, and they were like, "You eating breakfast again?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm going 3 times a day." And I'm going to be out there. And so it was just a fun time. I wouldn't take it
Wow.
back. When you told me, I didn't know I was going to be speaking like this, but I got my little sweater on and my pins. I dusted it off, and I was ready to go.
I'm hearing all that from you.
Yes,
Meridia?
I'm just proud to go to Grambling. It was just the best decision to say I wasn't going to go there, and I was at the point where I was like, I'm just going to go to USA. It's done. It's over with. I just had such a good time, and I still have friends, like lifelong friends from Grambling. Like they say, when you go to the airport, or you just around here, when you see somebody's logo, you want to pull over to the side of their car and be like, "You went to Grambling? You went to GSU?" Yeah, respect, because sometimes when you just wear the G, they'll be like, "Is that Georgia?" And I'm like, "No, it's not even the same colors." Grambling.
What is that? What is that? No.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Yeah. So it's just like great.
I love
Best
that.
thing.
I love
It gets
that.
you excited when you're talking about it.
I can tell. Wow. Okay. All right. Anyone got any last minute things, by the ways, or what have you? Well, I'm sorry.
I do have one
Tasha.
thing. And you asked me this question the other day, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but
no.
it just sparked something. I wore a Hillman sweatshirt to school the other day, and it's not my sweatshirt. I borrowed it from somebody.
Yeah.
But he's so
I
gracious.
wasn't going to say anything because, Dominique, we're down, but, I wasn't going to tell him you stole a shirt. And you
But
had it on.
I love that sweatshirt because Hillman was kind of like all of our first exposure to college, and it was an HBCU. And I think during the time when it came out, I didn't really recognize that it was an HBCU. I just knew that was something I wanted to do because it looked fun. The characters, you could relate to them, and it was just, it was great. And I hate that kids nowadays don't have something like A Different World because it taught us so much, and it made me really want to go to college. And if you didn't have anyone else in your family that went to college, you still felt like you did because you knew Whitley and Dwayne and all of them went to college. So, I can do the same thing, and I wanted to, pledge a sorority because you could get to see all the fraternities and the sorority in the background. And so it was great. And I wore the shirt the other day, and one of my counselors asked me, she said, "What does the Latin words mean on the shirt?" And I said, "I don't know. I don't speak Latin." And she was like, "Well, I'm going to look it up." So she looked it up, and it said, "God's not finished." And that's what it stood for. And it made me love it even more. And just to know that now that they were walking around with that helmet shirt on and it said in Latin that God's not finished, just made me want to embrace that even more.
Wow, wow.
Just a little known fact that I didn't think anyone else knew.
No, I did not.
Didn't I know? That gave me chills as you saying
It
that.
really did. And having 8 years of Greek and Hebrew, I don't know why I didn't look at your shirt. I could have told you what it meant. But wow. And I think that's a good way for us to end tonight. God is not finished. In the fact that whether you go to an HBCU or if you go to a PWI, just go somewhere. Get the education, because as black folk, we need that education. It helps us within society to be able to accomplish our dreams. And I just want to say this, and I believe this wholeheartedly, that if you want it bad enough, you can get it. As a black person, y'all know my story for father and all that kind of stuff, blah, blah, blah. But everything that I've wanted in life to achieve, I've been able to do it as a black man. Not to say that I have not had some obstacles. Not to say that, as you stated, Tasha, the professor, if you will, they won't hold you to a higher standard or you won't run into some challenges and what have you. But I have found out if I put my head down and I'm determined, I can do whatever doggone it I want to do. And I think you all probably can testify to the same thing. Yeah, you're black, but you can still make it in America. Again, I thank each and every one of you for taking the time out of your schedules. We went actually a little over the allotted time, but that's all right, because I wanted those of you that are watching, whether it be via Facebook or YouTube, to hear from the lived experiences of all of these individuals, and for you to be able to make an informed and intelligent decision on where you might further your education. So again, Jade, thank you. Latasha, thank you. Sheikah, thank you. Dominique, thank you. Meridia, thank you. Candace, thank you so much. Let us pray. Father God, we thank you for all that has been said and done. We are grateful for the opportunity, God, not just to learn societally, but also, God, theologically. We are grateful for not just the knowledge by way of which we have obtained by way of an HBCU or a PWI, but we're also grateful for the knowledge that we have of you, that according to your word in Jeremiah 29:11, that you know the thoughts that you thinketh towards each and every one of us, thoughts of peace, not of evil, in order to give us an expected end. Thank you for our lives being predestined before the very foundations of the world. And we know that if God be for us, you are more than the world could ever be against us. This is our prayer in Jesus' name and for his sake. Amen. God bless you all, and thank you for tuning in.